Hello friends, I'm Akash, and this is your News of the Week for the week of December 18th to December 24th, 2022. We have some very important and interesting stories for you this week. But before we begin, I'd like to quickly mention about one of the first major events that happened this week. The FIFA World Cup final between Argentina and France on December 18th, 2022. And let me tell you, it is one of the best finals that I have ever seen in any World Cup. And if you want to see a summary of this amazing game, I've made an analysis video in the link over here and also in the description. Alright, let's crack on with our news of the week. And we're gonna start off with a bit of an invitation to celebrate a Merry Christmas, friends. After 3 years of COVID-19 blocking people from traveling to meet their loved ones, Christmas is coming back, and it is going to be so exciting. I'm gonna absolutely love it, and I really hope that you do too. However, there is just one problem for those celebrating in the United States and Canada. And that is that there has been severe winter weather that is spread across North America due to a massive Arctic blast that has affected areas as south as Houston, Texas. This is one of the coldest Christmas times for many of the states due to this polar blast. This fierce winter storm, commonly referred to as a bomb cyclone due to its unprecedented intensification, has left over 1 million people without power in many states and delays in thousands of flights across North America, which is very problematic for Christmas travelers. I mean, for example, just to give a sense of just how bad this winter storm is, here in my hometown of San Angelo, Texas, it's very sunny. I mean, it's the South, it's gonna be sunny. You'd expect those temperatures to reflect that. Okay, it might be 60 degrees or something. No, actually the temperature is 18 degrees Fahrenheit. That is equal to -7 degrees Celsius. -7! Seriously, if the weather is like that down south, imagine what it must be like for the folks living up north in Chicago or even in Canada. Imagine that. You know, I really hope that the weather will get better so that we all can experience a very Merry Christmas and an amazing Happy New Year. Alright, let's take a look at our next story of the week. The U.S. House January 6th Committee on the United States Capitol attack has released a final report, placing former President Donald Trump at the center of it all and aiming to prevent him from ever contesting in public office again. So let's take a look at how this happened. On January 6th, 2021, followers of former President Trump attacked the United States Capitol building in an attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election, in which Trump lost to now President Joe Biden. The events of that day sparked massive outrage and were universally condemned as an insurrection and a threat to American democracy. Soon, a bipartisan committee was set up within the House of Representatives named the January 6th Committee to investigate the United States Capitol attack. And now, 18 months after the founding of the committee, the final report of the January 6th Committee was released on December 22nd, 2022. Which asserts that it was President Trump and his allies who orchestrated a plan to provoke the attack against the United States in order to illegally overturn the election. And this actually demands further that President Trump should be barred from ever contesting any public office ever again. I mean, that's pretty big. And you know what? There's going to be some other very interesting things happening too. Despite the committee issuing a subpoena for Trump to testify, he never did. And instead he sued the committee to prevent his testimony. And because this committee is going to be dissolved on January 3rd, 2023, they have basically no time to actually make it happen. So they had to make do with testimony from other Trump aides and officials. Additionally, the January 6th committee referred Trump to the Department of Justice In other words, the committee recommends that the FBI should prosecute Trump for his actions against the United States. Although the DOJ does not actually have to follow this recommendation, but I mean, this House Select Committee said it already, and it could happen. The DOJ and the FBI, they could prosecute it, and things can go so differently from here. But here's an analogy for everything that's happened until now. After the American Civil War ended in 1865, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln had a choice to send to jail or execute the enemy leaders, or to just set them free. And he's a wise man, so you know what he did? He let the enemy Confederate leaders free. And he knew this because he knew the enemy supporters were nearly half of the country at that time. And he knew that they would cause a massive revolt and resume this war, a massive revolt. That could happen if the enemy leaders were sent to prison or executed. That is by far the best way to deal with something like this. The clear winner here is Abraham Lincoln. He got what he wanted in the end without making the opposition very, very angry. And you know what? The January 6th committee now has that same goal, to prevent anyone, including Trump, from attempting anything like this ever again. And that is what's been going on with this insanely big story. So let's take a look at our next topic. From December 21st to 22nd, 2022, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made a surprise visit to Washington, D.C., his first foreign trip since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began earlier this year. The trip was highly planned and in the works for months. President Zelensky met with President Biden, announcing that the United States will send Patriot missile launchers to Ukraine, a weapon that Ukraine has desperately needed and has asked for in the past in order to combat Russia's missile barrages. Zelensky then gave a speech to a joint session of Congress, in which he pleaded the government to continue aiding Ukraine in the war. And Congress gave a very big standing ovation in response. Zelensky gave a Ukrainian flag signed by soldiers from the war to Congress and was given a U.S. flag that flew on the Capitol building that day in return. Even then, after Zelensky returned home in Ukraine, Russia continued shelling, because on Christmas Eve, December 24th, when Russia shelled the city of Kherson, which was retaken by Ukraine a few weeks ago after relentless combat against Russian forces, 7 people died in the Christmas Eve shelling, which Zelensky condemned as terror in an address after the attack. Seriously, how do you have to be to shell them on Christmas Eve? Really, this is a big sign that Ukraine still needs help. And I am with the Ukrainian people. I hope that dialogue between Ukraine and Russia will be successful in ending this war and leading to cooperation and safety for the people of Ukraine. And that is all of your news of the week, for the week of December 18th to December 24th, 2022. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great Christmas, and I'll see you in another news of the week. Goodbye.